Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. My name is Daniel Trinham, and I will be your host as always. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to let you know of a few things of note. First, you may or may not be aware that I host another podcast called The Third Seat. The Third Seat is unrelated to the podcast you are listening to right now, but if you'd like to check it out, then I will put a link in the description of today's episode that you can use to listen to it. If you like this podcast, then I really think you will like The Third Seat as well, so I highly recommend you check it out. Next, I want to let you know of a few ways you can support the podcast. First, be sure to tell a friend if you enjoy the show. Word of mouth is not only a great way to help support the show, but it's also zero cost. Secondly, if you enjoyed today's episode, then be sure to leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Leaving a positive review is one of the best ways of not only supporting the show, but it also gives me direct feedback from you regarding how you feel about the show overall. I greatly appreciate if you decide to take the time to support the show in any of these ways. Finally, if you'd like to follow me or the show on social media, then feel free to check out the description of today's episode. Here you will find all affiliated and mentioned links, as well as how you can support the show online. As always, I want to thank you for tuning into and supporting the show. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. My name is Daniel Trinham. I'm going to be your host as always, and I am very excited to bring today's episode to you all. So for a little bit of context before we start this episode, in my 9-to-5 job, I host another podcast called The Third Seat, which if you haven't listened to it, you definitely should. But one of the first starting episodes that I did was with a guy named Malcolm Harris. He was like episode 4 or 5, I believe. And I really enjoyed talking with him at the time. And whenever we put his episode out, I had numerous people tell me that they loved listening to it. It was their favorite episode so far. And I knew after that, I was like, well, I got to have him on this show. So today I have the pleasure of doing part 2 with Malcolm. So Malcolm, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, oh my God. It's so good to be here, man. I'm super excited to have this dialogue and convo with you. It's a pleasure, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. So just how you been? How you been lately?
Did y'all hear that sigh?
So let's move on to the next time.
I've been good, man. I've been hustling. I've been working. Things at Steam are just moving a million miles a minute.
Yeah.
Doing my thing on the side when it comes to radio.
Yeah.
I'm announcing here right now. I just finished up a course at Vanderbilt.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a boot camp when it came to marketing.
Yeah.
So I've been keeping that really low key, but
Nice.
that just wrapped up last week.
Nice.
So it's been awesome, man. Trying to just position myself to be in the best spot to help Steam succeed in the future, bro.
That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. So I know that we talked a little bit about this whenever we recorded over here last time, and I've been keeping up with you and with everything that's going on with Steam. The building is coming along very nicely.
Man,
I saw a release recently online. I don't know, maybe I just missed it, where the paint job that's going to be going on the outside of it. And I'm a little bit excited because right now on my commute here, I drive right by it every single day. Like I pull, the intersection where the Five Guys is. Like I go straight through that intersection every day. And so I'll kind of go by it and be like, oh, they put a new window up. Oh, they put this, just keeping tabs on how things are going over there. And it's exciting. It's a cool looking place.
the Steam Center is going to be amazing. I talked to you earlier just about it in the previous show, but when I tell you I was in a board meeting the other day, and they were like, Chattanooga is really like the Silicon Valley of freight and logistics.
It literally is. Yeah.
Well, Steam is going to be the biggest entity within that Silicon Valley, in the nicest building in the heart of downtown. Like, I cannot put into words how much this means to me, man.
It's cool seeing on the outside looking in, watching something, I came into knowledge of Steam and everything that you all do just through social media, just kind of in doing the job that I do, just came across you all. And I know that you all have been doing, work before I knew about you, but it's been cool to see not only Chattanooga grow, but to see also companies within Chattanooga grow into what they are, what they're become, like to literally watch it happen,
Yeah, man.
I don't want to, equate it to anything, it's too like big or anything. But when you see like a big company, I was in Nashville a couple weekends ago, and like the big AT&T building, like right in downtown. Sometimes you look at that and you're like, man, like how did that get there? Like that's been there for so long. Like I can't remember a time where that wasn't there. Yeah. And right now, we're seeing with at least that building with steam, like we're seeing hopefully a Chattanooga staple like being built right before our eyes. Who knows what the future will look like, but it's just cool seeing something like that being built in real time and watching it kind of come of age to a degree.
It's crazy. And just to be on the inside and seeing it and just seeing like, promotions and seeing people grow and seeing, things that weren't there that are now there. The processes. I'm a huge part of that. Like I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now a year ago. Like, and that's what's so beautiful about STEAM is like you can really change and evolve and grow. Yeah. And it's forcing you to do that with the way the business is going. It's just like, hey, we have a need here. Yeah. Fill it. It will be for sure a special day. I mean, early December is kind of when the keys are going to be kind of tossed to Jason and Steve, and then after that, January is probably when the project's going to be completed.
Nice.
And then it's a ribbon cutting ceremony and those things, and I cannot wait. Yeah. This is now before our very eyes turning from a Chattanooga brand to a national brand. Yeah. Like that to me is can put words behind it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see. And what I'm excited for is, like I said, right now, currently, I drive by it every day. So I know that whenever it's completed, right now there's a bunch of like construction equipment out in front of it and like cranes and stuff and whatnot. But I'm excited whenever it's finally completed and, people are coming in and out, like seeing life in it. Because right now it's just kind of like a more completed than it was, but it's just kind of like a shell right now, and I'm excited to finally see, you and other people coming in and out and going up and down and just seeing life come into that place. I think it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be 1,000+ people, and it's almost going to like revitalize the downtown area. Because imagine all those people, Steve would go crazy if all of us were eating lunch at the same time. But like, between the hours of 12 and 2.
Y'all are going to keep that Five Guys in business.
That's what I'm saying. Like all these new businesses that are popping up and the existing ones, like 1,000 people eating lunch at one time, and we're renewing, I don't want to say renewing, but revitalizing our old space that we're in right now and kind of conjoining it's like with the breezeway. Yeah. So the new building and the old building, it's really going to be like a STEAM campus. Yeah. So it's, Daniel, it's wild. Yeah. It's wild. I'm fortunate. Yeah. I'll say that.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm definitely cheering you and STEAM on just from the outside looking in. I think y'all are doing great, and it's just exciting to see things grow. Getting to have a little bit of a peek inside just from the last time we talked and watching you on social media and literally seeing it be built every single day. It's pretty cool. So I'm excited for y'all and excited to see when the big red ribbon eventually does get cut and you can officially begin working there.
You got an invitation, man.
Awesome. That sounds great.
I'm for real. Like you do too much. Like we got you.
Well, I'm excited. I would love to be there, and we'll definitely make a trip out of it.
Yes, sir.
Something I've been dying to ask you ever since a week or two ago. So you graduated from UTK, is that correct?
I did.
What was your reaction to the UTK Bama game?
So I was supposed to go to the game.
Okay, yeah. Give me the rundown of like what you were doing that day.
I was supposed to go to the game, and I just for some reason was like, I'm bad luck. And I was like, bro, nothing ever goes my way.
You were like, I can't be there.
I was like, I don't even want to be there because like when I watch Tennessee games, I need to be by myself. I hate watching Tennessee games with other people. I cannot stand watching Tennessee games with my friends. Like, I don't like chit-chatting. I don't like talking. I like to sit there, and it's going to be weird. I like to sit there. I don't like to have on a shirt during Tennessee because I get so hot. I get so hot, Daniel, and I start sweating, man. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch this bad boy at home. And, I was like, dude, I really believe. And I was like, you know what? Let me put my money where my mouth is. So I put like $400 on Tennessee to win.
Nice.
Because I was just like, something, if it doesn't happen now, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. This is the last chance.
Yeah, so I was watching the game, I was eating food, I was just beside myself. And then, when the fumble happened in the fourth quarter, I was like, they have found a way to win.
Yeah.
And I was like, I cannot believe this. This was it. I mean, I was into it. I was like, we went up. I was like, oh my gosh, we're here. And then, we got the ball back and kicked a field goal.
Yeah.
And I cried. I cried like somebody just passed away.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, like we beat Alabama. Then I had a bottle, Rick Ross, he has the Bel Air. And I had it.
You were channeling your Rick Ross vibes.
Yeah, I do a really good Rick Ross grunt, by the way. So I was feeling like Rick Ross, and I popped that bottle in my complex, and I had a cigar just in case, and I had a good time, man. I was super excited.
That's hilarious. So it's funny for me. Like I have a weird relationship with just UTK, more specifically the football, because growing up, my family was we were UTK fans more just because we lived in East Tennessee. That was pretty much it. Yeah. And for most of my life, UT football was never stellar. Like they were just kind of like average to bad. Like they were just so growing up, like I would go to UTK games, but it was always like they were playing like Eastern Ohio State, something like that.
Like they're supposed to win.
Yeah, I would go to those games, and so I'd see them win there, but then like they'd always get beat by like the big teams, and I just never really got like excited for it, And then came, I guess I was in high school, and then came the Josh Dobbs era where, yes,
I was in college then.
I will never forget that, because that was when it got me. It got me like the bug of like being a fan, because that was when they started to be good. And like at the time, not so much now, but at the time, people were like excited about Butch Jones. They were like, this might be the guy.
That was my guy.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs was there. Like he might be the guy. He's smart. He's aerospace engineer. Like he's got all the things. He checks all the boxes. Was Kamara there?
Yeah,
whenever?
Alvin was there.
I was say
Kamara. Jalen Hurd was there.
Jalen Hurd.
All
Like
those guys.
we had a lot of names, and I was like, okay, we might actually be good. And we built up to where a lot of them were seniors, and the year where, I think it was the year where they played at Bristol, you know what I'm talking about?
2016.
Yeah, where they played at Bristol. They started out like 5-0.
Yes.
And that was the year where they beat Georgia on Juwan Jennings.
I was there.
You were at that game?
There.
Okay, so for me at that time, this is funny thinking about where we both were at these times. You were at the game. At the time, it was the middle of October. And the reason why I know that is because at the time, in my little podunk town that I'm from, we had a haunted trail that I worked at. Like it was in a corn maze that was like haunted, and like people jumped out. Like I worked at that, okay? And the game was going on, and we were like 10 minutes before we had to go out there and like start the job. But we wanted to see the end of the game, and so it was me and like 30 people like surrounded by this one guy's phone in this garage, just like, hold on a minute, we can't go, like we got to see what happens. And I'll never forget, like at that moment I was like, okay, like this is exciting, like I'm feeling it now. And then he caught that ball, and I was like, I'm a Tennessee fan now. Like I'm sold. This is the greatest thing. Like we just like lost. You ever seen videos of people just like scattering in different directions? That's what happened. Like we were all in our Halloween garb and stuff like that, like wearing our costumes, and we just sprinted off in different directions. And at that moment I was like, it got me. Like I've become a Tennessee fan now. But then like, man, you had some of the down years after that. And I felt like every season I was on such an emotional roller coaster with with UT, which I know what I'm talking about.
Every day.
I know.
Every day.
I know. And so I got to this point where I realized I was like, if I'm going to have like a healthy relationship with UT, I have to cheer them on like from afar. Yeah. If I get too dedicated to it, I'm going to be like, losing sleep over the, like, it's going to be bad. Like I will get way too into it, and it'll be bad for everybody. So I'm happy for them that they win now. Like I can't get too involved, because I know if I do, it'll be bad for me. Like I'll just get way over the top about it, but I'm still like, you guys are doing great. I'm still cheering you on, from afar. Like you guys are doing great. I can't get too close, or else I'm going to be in bad shape. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. It's just, man, and I told the story. I was at an alumni event yesterday in Chattanooga. It was at Top Golf.
Yeah.
And I got asked to speak. And in 2007, I made the decision to come to University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
I was like 13. My dad, he took me. It was the Georgia game, ironically. And we beat up on them 35-14. Wasn't supposed to win. And I told my dad I was either going to open the tee or I was going to run through it. Well, I wasn't that good of a football player. So I ended up being
unless there's a side of your life that I'm not aware of.
No, I ended up being in a band at UT. And, bro, when I tell you, I hate that I chose UT because I am so invested. It is like frustrating. And right now is the happiest my life has ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, Hendon Hooker, Coach Heupel, I don't know. The Georgia game, November 5th, is going to tell me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
You know?
That's going to be a big game. I mean,
the biggest game but if you can get this Alabama, off your back, Georgia to me is looking fraudulent.
Yeah.
And it's just like, be aggressive.
Yeah.
And, volunteer faithful, if that game is won by Tennessee, go ahead and get your credit card.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get a loan. And let's get to the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Georgia, baby. You heard it here first, man.
I love it. And that's the thing, like, whenever I went to UTC, and it was, for me, it was between UTC and UTK. And I ultimately, obviously, went to UTC. But I know that if I did go to UTK, I would be the same. Like, I know that it would have gotten me. Like, I would have, I was this close to it, and I was like, for my own personal well-being, I need to make a business decision here and distance myself just a little bit from this,
I completely commend you.
Yeah.
Because this is not what you...
But still, like, I remember, so just a week or two ago when the game was going on, I still was the mindset, I was like, we're not going to win this game. Like, it's just not, I was convinced that we just were never going to beat Alabama. As long as Saban is there, it's not going to happen. Like, it's just something we just have to accept. And I remember, I guess it was like in the second quarter, maybe, we were up like 21 or like 28 or 21 to like
10.
Yeah. And I was like, I texted my friends, I was like, we're winning right now. I was like, this feels so weird. Like, I was like, I don't know, like, not that we've never had a lead on Alabama, but it was like this, we are like beating them. Like, we're not just like winning by like 2 points. Like, we're like putting a lead ahead of them. And I was like, this feels so weird. This is so strange because I'm used to them just whipping up on us every chance they get. And I don't know, it was crazy. It was crazy seeing one of the best games, honestly,
of my life. I mean, when you cried, a grown man, y'all, was out here crying. I called my mom.
Yeah.
I called my dad. I ain't no telling. I mean, my girlfriend. It was horrible. It was just, it was a great moment. Cigars were definitely had that night.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I know you're a Falcons fan. If Tennessee does end up going to the college football, or not college football, well, definitely college football, but the SEC championship, are you going to be there?
I'll have a tent ready. I'll have a tent ready.
I thought you were going to say I've already got an Airbnb booked.
Listen, when I tell you, man, there will be nothing that stops me. If we go to the SEC, there will be nothing on this earth that stops me from attending that sporting event. I don't care what was happening. I mean, that's right around the time, hopefully, that the Steam Center is going to be open.
Yeah.
It's going to have to wait. Me, Jason Pravancha, Steve Cox.
You can be like, listen, man, I'm sorry.
Listen, guys.
You're going to have to put it off one more day.
It's not you, it's me. I got some business to handle in Atlanta. Nah, man, it means that much to me. I was just saying it yesterday, like, Tennessee, when it comes down to it, like, it's a piece of me. Like, I really didn't have any other options but to go to, like, I didn't tour anywhere, which in hindsight was not smart. I literally just was like, all right, I'm going to Tennessee. Like, that's it. Because I just knew. And when you know, you know. And, best decision I made.
I will say in hindsight, it is cool. Like, now that a lot of the emotion of that game has kind of died down a little bit and people have, put their heads back on straight and, we've all gone back to work and taken a deep breath. Like, it's been cool to see like everyone finally collectively, like everyone that keeps up with UT and to whatever degree, whether to a small or large degree, like seeing everyone collectively enjoy this. Because like I said, for my whole life, basically my whole life, except for, a few years here and there, like Tennessee was just never good. And like everybody that I knew wanted them to be good, but they were always mediocre at best to just bad sometimes. And it's been, I don't know, it's been really cool seeing everybody just collectively be like, this is our moment. If anything, we have this one moment right now that we can enjoy, you know, and it's been really cool. It's been cool to see that.
See all that orange on the field.
That was crazy.
To see the goalposts coming down, to see just, I don't know, it didn't, in that one moment, nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
You know, it's like time stopped. It was like, yo, we're here.
Yeah.
And we're not going anywhere. Like, the night belongs to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Tomorrow, we can lose a game next week.
Yeah.
We did not lose a game next week. But,
thank goodness.
yeah, man, it was special.
Yeah. I was thinking, though, whenever those goalposts went down, I was thinking, you know, they have a game the following week. I was like, do they have just like extra goalposts on standby? Because I imagine those things are not easy to like produce and turn around. You know, like what's the story behind the new ones?
The athletic director, Danny White, he actually put in a call to the company that did it, and he was like, "Hey, can you order these just in case something crazy happens?"
I was wondering if that was gonna.
So he put in the order probably like a Wednesday or a Thursday. And sure enough,
that's hilarious.
It happened.
Well, he knew it, that if that happened, it was gonna, like, everyone knew that was gonna happen.
There was no keeping off that field. I mean, people, and if you saw the video, like, folks were taking, you know, pieces of the checkerboards. My CEO was on. Well, excuse me, my president Steve. He was on the field doing snow angels.
I think I saw that picture.
And he ended up on the news. Out of all those people,
I think I saw that picture.
Steve Cox ended up on the news for doing snow angels in Neyland Stadium. So, like, when I tell you, it's just deeper, man. It means everything, and I'm super happy to be involved and involved for life at that.
Yeah, so. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to keep up, and I can't guarantee that if they go to the SEC championship that I will be there, but I'll be on the lookout for you. I will be keeping up, looking in the stands and on the jumbotron to see if you're there.
Listen, I'll be there. I'll sneak in. I mean, listen, I got this. This is history. You understand? Like this is important, man.
Yeah. Something I do want to ask you about, and you kind of briefly mentioned it at the beginning. So, and I don't know if we talked about this a lot whenever we first originally talked, but obviously you work at Steam. What do you do like on the radio? Like with is it with Brewer?
The Brewer Media group.
Yeah. So what's the story behind that? Like give me the rundown on how what you do and kind of how you got to where you are with that.
So I started my radio career. Radio has been something I've always had a passion for. Podcasting, all this. It's just, to me, it's an outlet from what comes with what I do daily in my corporate life. So I worked with Fox Sports Knoxville covering the Vols. This is like 2019.
It all goes back to Tennessee.
Yeah, this is all in Tennessee. So I was looking for a recruiter job because I was recently laid off. I literally could not find a job. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do radio. They couldn't sign me to like an actual deal, but they're like, hey, you can do a show. We got you. We heard about you. You're good at what you do. I was like, bet. So I did a show. It was called Overtime. And loved the show, but I wanted to move to Chattanooga. I was like, I'm sick of Knoxville.
Yeah.
I've been here since 2012. I feel like a loser. Like, let's go to another city, turn it up. So I came to Chattanooga and I emailed ESPN Chattanooga. I saw it at Wells Guthrie. That's my guy. But he was like, yeah, man, we don't have anything. And I was like, okay. So I put on my nicest suit and I just showed up. Just to
the ESPN?
Yeah, to the ESPN Chattanooga. And nobody was there. But the Power 94 person, Keith Landecker, was there. And he was like, can I help you, son? I was like, man, I'm just looking for an opportunity. He was like, what? And I was like, I'm just looking for an opportunity. You know, I work at Steam right now, but radio is super important to me. And he was like, well, leave a resume. We'll call you when something opens. So I was like, fair enough. Yeah. So I sent him an email thanking him for his time. Didn't think I'd hear anything back. Probably a week passed. Yeah. And he was like, were you serious? I've never seen that. He was like, you came in with a lapel flower, with the tie, with the handkerchief, like you were at somebody's funeral. And I was like, I was super serious. And he was like, okay, come on back. So I talked with Kira. She is the head of Brewer. And, you know, they inked me to a deal. And I was like, okay. And they're like, are you sure you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Even with Steam, I was like, absolutely. And that's when I became DJ Miggy
with
Power 94.
I like it.
And then a couple weeks later, Greg Larnard, he leads ESPN Chattanooga's, it's called The Word with G, and he does a Feel Good Friday segment. And we got introduced by Keith, and he was like, man, this guy knows his stuff when it comes to sports. Would you like to hop on a show with me and just talk? And I was like, man, I would eat you up, Greg. Don't even start. This is what I do. It's like asking Kobe Bryant, do you want to play one-on-one?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah. So we ended up doing that, and now I do The Word with G every Friday.
Nice.
So that is how I got to Brewer story.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that like everybody's story is different, but I think oftentimes like I will see people in different positions, different jobs, and you like the first thought that comes to my head is like, how did they actually get, like what led to them getting to that point? And like oftentimes it's different for everybody, but a consistent theme that I'm seeing and like what I'm hearing with you is that you were not like, for one, this was not just like handed to you on a silver platter, like, but also something I've really been trying to focus on lately is whatever I want to accomplish, whatever anybody wants to accomplish, is focusing on that, but also focusing on starting where you can start. Like whatever the first step is for you, like maybe you're not going to, ink some deal with Sirius XM and be like, Stephen A. Smith on every single ESPN radio channel nationwide and just doing 100 different shows. Like maybe that won't be you, but that's okay. Like what's the first step look like for you? For you in this instance, it was literally emailing them and literally walking up to their office and being like, hey, do y'all have anything that I could do? And to me, I think that's such a great example to set, because I know so many people like my age and just in 20s, 30s that are looking to do, like everybody wants to have their own personal thing where they can be create something, be proud of it. Yeah. But I think it's oftentimes hard to know where to start, because you see people that have made it big and it's like, how did they do it? Like I know if they can do it, then I can do it. But how did they do it? Like how were they able to cultivate the audience they had and to build up the platform they have? But the thing I'm seeing is that most people, it's a different route where they get to where they get to, but they have to start wherever they can start, even if it's a small step, even if it's literally walking up to their office and being like, hey, do y'all have any open positions? It takes starting wherever you can start. And I think I just think that's really cool, that's what your story is.
It's love, bro. Yeah. Man, that got me, honestly. It's, stars and talent are going to shine when it's darkest, So like whenever you, and this is for anybody, myself included, like, I'm not going to be in the NBA. I'm not going to be in the NFL.
One day I really thought I was going to be. I'm not lying. I really convinced myself I was going to be one day though.
I'm probably not going to, be, Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. But the thing is, it's just like, if you try and commit your life to that craft, you will get close. And that's better than anybody. So like, I don't know, like these followings that people build and they have 1 million followers, like it's hard, but it's not that hard. It's just a consistent approach every day, like consistency and putting out content. And, in this case for me, like if I wanted to go to ESPN, I already know what I would do. I would literally pack up a car, drive to Bristol, Connecticut, and be like, I can do any and everything from a janitor to your lead anchor. Where can I sign up? And I would just, I don't know. Sometimes you have to believe it. You have to almost be crazy to a fault to believe that you can do it and put it in the atmosphere, because if you don't think you can do it, why should anybody else?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think another thing as well is that, it's important to understand that two things. I think a lot of people, the reason why, especially in a creative space like this, I think the reason why they quote unquote fail is not because they weren't good at it, or not because they weren't talented, or not even necessarily because they failed at it. I think it's because they stopped, like most people. And I get it. Life is complicated. Things get in the way. Like this is coming from a 22-year-old who doesn't have a family, or like I get it. Like it's easy for me to be like, yeah, like you should you stop doing the thing that you were doing. Like yeah, life gets complicated at times. But I think most people, they have an idea of like, oh, I want to chase this thing. I want to do this thing. I have this passion I want to chase and dedicate time towards. But it's less that I think people are bad at it. It's more that they stop when they have an opportunity. Like with this right now, I know a lot of people that have tried to do shows and stuff, and they'll get a couple episodes in, and then it just kind of stops after that. Yeah. And so my attitude with this is whether the episodes are good, whether they're bad, whether they're mediocre, just keep doing it over and over again. Practice it like it's any other skill, and inevitably you're gonna get better at it. You're gonna grow, and it's gonna grow.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of it, and I also think like there is no shame in starting small. Like there's no shame in that at all. Like especially in the age where everybody, it seems like I've made this joke about myself. It seems like everybody has a podcast, me included. Like it seems like everybody's doing something like everybody has a personal brand at this point. It's like, how are you able to compete with these people to a degree? Yeah. But you're not necessarily supposed to be the biggest person on all the airwaves or the face of everything. Just start small wherever you can start. For me, like whenever I was starting this, the first step for me was just buying a microphone. I knew that if I was monetarily invested at that point, then I had to do it. Like I've already bought microphones in a stand, so I got to do it now. Like I can't procrastinate any longer. Like I got to do it at this point. And so even if it's as small as that, like buying a microphone, buying a pop filter, like whatever it is, taking that first step and getting involved in whatever it is you want to create or whatever it is you want to do, I think that really is the first step to building something big. Because then at that point, it's just a matter of consistency. It's not a matter of exploding overnight necessarily or being the best. It's about consistently showing up every day and doing it. You brought up Kobe Bryant a minute ago.
That's my guy.
Yeah, and obviously he was incredibly talented. Like I'm not going to sit here and act like he didn't have amazing God-given abilities, but no one ever doubted the fact that he showed up every day and worked on his skills and the things that he had. And I think that's such a great, that will be the lasting impact of him, is no matter whether you are the most talented person or whether you have zero skills to speak of, if you show up every day and work at your craft, you're going to get better at it. You may not be the best. You may not be, even Kobe couldn't be Michael Jordan. That's okay. He is him. He's the best version of him. And I think showing up every day and honing your craft as best you can each day, that's going to give you much more results over the long haul, instead of trying to blow up overnight or something like that.
I love that. And you said something earlier about, when it comes to hard work, like you can't escape the grind. Mm-hmm. Like people really try to escape the hustle and what comes with it. There's probably somebody that's better than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
There's probably
from an athletic perspective, there are lots of people.
There's probably somebody that's a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. We'll never know.
Yeah.
Because they didn't work hard enough to be those guys. There's certain chosen ones that are just there because of the work that they put in. So that to me, and I'm not perfect. Mm-hmm. I have so much to do. Mm-hmm. I have a long way to go, but I know that it's not going to be easy, and that the work is just begun. Mm-hmm. And I model my life off of Kobe. Mm-hmm. And that Mamba mentality. Like that's a great book. Mm-hmm. And it's just saying you can be satisfied whenever you win, but it's almost like a 24-hour rule. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
What else are you going to build? Because it's in my Instagram bio. This thing that we call life comes with 2 dates and a dash. Mm-hmm. Do the most with it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do the most with it, why do it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's something that a lot of people our age are dealing with right now, just because a lot of us are, we're coming of age, we're trying to figure out what the next step for us is. I graduated college almost a year ago now. And I know a lot of people my age, they're either graduating college or they have, or they're recently out of college. And, our lives are on such a display all the time, just because of this, they're on display all the time for better or for worse. Yeah. And it can be daunting to get discouraged by the sheer amount of just things that there are out there to compare yourselves to. But I think what you said is really important. Whatever your field is, whether it's in media, whether it's in, I'm blanking on every other kind of career now, but whatever it is that you do, I house sat for a guy this weekend that loves to do woodworking, like whether it's media, whether it's woodworking, whether it's sports, whatever it is. If you want to build it into something, and this is coming from a novice at what I'm doing right now, like you may not be the best, you may not be the most skilled person at it, but you're not going to get better if you don't show up and don't try. And that's what I think is a big lesson that I try to keep with me, is that I know there's going to be people that are better than me. Talking about, I remember for whatever reason, freshman year of high school, I was convinced that I was going to go to the NBA. I was like, I'm taller than everybody. I can get rebounds. Like I can shoot a little bit. Like I'm going. That's it. I'm going. Like I'm built for it. And then I learned real quick. I was like, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. And listen, the reason I say that is because I was not the most skilled person. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the quickest. I couldn't jump the highest. And I was destined for high school to be the end of my basketball career. Yeah. But that's fine. What I learned from that is that even when you're not the most talented person in the room, you can still show up every day. You can still fill your seat every day and do your job every day. And that consistency over time is what's going to really pay dividends, at least in my experience and in my mind.
And that's going to translate. And it has translated, because look what you're doing right now. Like I'm telling you, like, you got the key, man. You got the recipe, and it's just keep going. I'm even talking to myself when I'm telling you this, because there's days I'm like, oh my gosh, like, bro, like this is a lot. But if you want to be, I always said this, my pops, he told me this, if you want to be the guy, like there's no running from it. You got to be the guy. Mm-hmm. Like there's no, I won't, like, nah, like you wanted this. Yeah. You pray for this moment. Like you said, you wanted to eat. So why is there all this food on your plate? Like I said, I wanted to eat. So put some food on my plate.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah, bro. Listen, when it comes to, you touched on it earlier, but like these phones, like, bro, like there's people my age. I'm like, man, how are you in Tahiti today? And, you're in Dubai tomorrow. I'm like, bro, am I broke? And then I'm like, man, like, are y'all doing illegal activities? Like, what y'all got going on over there, man? Like, I'm just like, I need to work harder but nah, it's not real. It's a fugazi. It's something that's just not real, and you can't let that stuff bog you down, because at the end of the day, man, everybody has their own struggles. Everybody's going through stuff, like, just you cannot let that. And I am so much of a victim of this. Comparison is a thief of joy.
Oh man,
like in comparing yourself to somebody else, like we all have our own race. Yeah. Like run your own race, and just know that when you look to the left and the right, like if you honestly, when that, your head hits the pillow at night, and I'm like, man, did I do everything I could to push the legacy of Malcolm Harris forward? 10 out of 10 times the answer is going to be yeah.
And that is something that, regardless of whatever your background is, like that can be applied in so many ways. I know, we're talking about like social media and just the comparison games that we play all the time. I remember so vividly, and I think I've probably I know I've mentioned this before. Let's see, when was it? I was in college, because I remember it was at the start of 2020, before we knew what 2020 was going to be. And I had gotten to a point where I had such an unhealthy relationship with social media. Like I felt like every time I turned it on, I was just like, I don't want to see that. Like it was something I did not enjoy, but I couldn't pull myself away from it.
Absolutely.
And I realized that I was like, I'm comparing myself to these things that aren't even real. Like I'm in college. Like I don't have to have everything figured out right now. Like to your point, like I see people, one day you're in Cancun, the next day you're in Manhattan, and the other day, like, it's like, how are you living this life? Like this does not seem real. Like this does not seem feasible. And I realized, I was like you said, like I just need to live my own life. Like forget all this other stuff that is secondary. Like all these things, it's 90% of it isn't even real. And I just, for 2 years, except for a few times where I had to be on it, I just got rid of social media. I was like, I'm just going to exclude myself from it, just live my life and focus on things I need to do. And now, largely because of just the job I work now and this, like I'm on social media. But the thing that I learned with that is that, one, if you don't have a healthy relationship with social media, it will eat you up, dude. It will consume. As a child of the internet that's had these things around since the day I can remember, it will eat you alive if you let it. Like it will, like you said, it will steal your joy the second it can. But also, man, like, as silly as this sounds, I think it's important for especially people my age to realize, like, there is a world outside of this. It gets so easy to think that everything that happens on our phones and on social media, like, that's all that matters. And that is like this much. That's like such a small part of our lives. It's so important to just realize that real life happens in real life, not on here, not on the pictures and the posts that we see. Like, there's real people in the world that matter to us, really. And I think understanding that, as obvious as it sounds, is so important, especially for people our age, because, man, it gets so easy to get sucked into this stuff. It is so easy to.
Bro, Twitter is made up.
That's what I'm saying,
like,
dude.
You know, like
Twitter's the worst, dude.
Twitter is the worst, but I can't put it away. Like, Twitter is my app of choice.
Yeah.
Instagram, like, I never get on Facebook.
Yeah.
Instagram, like, the best thing that they did was and others. So, like, the like feature, you can hide it.
Yes.
Because, like, you feel so, like, inferior as a human when it's like, man, my buddy has like 834
That's
likes.
what I'm saying, dude.
And I got 22 likes on something I thought was about to be fire. Like, I thought this was the one. You
thought this was the one.
Daniel, and it's just like, my mom is in the comments. I'm like, Mom, stop, put your hand down. Stop. You scared, you know what I'm saying? Like, you scared, you trying to get... But, man, like, social media is take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And I love social media. Social media is done well. Like, LinkedIn, I love. I've told you this. Like, LinkedIn has changed my life, but I still get anxiety when I post. I still don't post like I need to, because I'm like, man, like, you know, sometimes on LinkedIn, you know, I'll see people be like, you know, today, you know, I saw a dog. The dog actually got in the car and ended up being able to be a talking dog in this interview. And now this dog's in California working at Apple. The dog was me. I'm the dog. And I'm like, Steam Logistics is hiring in all areas. You know, like, I'm like, bro, like, that's just not me.
Bro, man, like, I've told this to so many people that I have to use LinkedIn a lot for my job, and there's a lot of benefits to it. Like, for crying out loud, I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But, man, to what you're talking about, like, there are so many people on all social medias, but especially on LinkedIn, that they want to be a, like, pseudo motivational, like, I'm going to teach you how to do these. Like, I'm not saying there's not any room to motivate people, and I'm not saying there's not a space to inspire other people.
Absolutely.
But let it be genuine. Don't let it be like, I see so many people where it's like, it's just, it's too much to go into. But, man, I see so many people where they're just trying to post these pseudo motivational things to purely garner attention. And that's what frustrates me. It's like, you're not being genuine. You're not making this to actually benefit someone's life. You're doing this so you can get people to look at you.
You know what I'm saying? And you can feel that, like, that energy.
Yes.
I'm telling you, authenticity is my word for 2022. You know, being authentic and staying true to oneself, like that. That's what this thing called life is about. You know, it's not about anything else. And but yeah, social, take it with a grain, man, because it is.
Agree.
Whew,
it has obvious benefits. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you know, say social media, like, all of it's bad.
People have become millionaires off these phones.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to sit here and say all of it's bad, but at the end of the day, like, you have to decide what your relationship is to these things. Like I realized, like, this for me, like, I was like, I just don't enjoy Twitter. Like, this is just not my thing. Like, I don't particularly get any enjoyment out of it. I don't particularly care to, like, I don't really want it anymore. Like, the thing with me that I have the hardest time getting away from is Instagram. Like, that's the thing where if you give me the time, like, I'll just go and go and go and go and go. And so, like, I have to be deliberate about whenever I'm using it. Like, am I simply just wasting time right now? Like, am I just scrolling to scroll, or am I actually, like, seeking something out, or am I actually wanting to check on one of my friends or something? You know, discover that for yourself. Like, whoever you are listening to this right now, like, I think it's very important, like evaluate your relationship with these things because like I said, they will eat you up if you give it the opportunity.
Moderation is so key.
Yes.
Like screen time, like you can actually put like different limits on yourself.
That's a great, yes.
Like that's a huge tool. Like I've had to do that.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to Twitter and you know, LinkedIn, like I use professionally, but like even Instagram, like you said, man, it's just like, man, it's 12:30 and I'm sitting here watching rapper, videos, or I'm watching NFL throwbacks or NBA videos.
Yeah.
It's just like, what value has this brought to my life the past 2 hours?
Yeah.
Just being selective with time because ultimately, like, time is all we have.
No, I agree, man. I agree. I'm social media is such a it's something that I have a lot of experience with just because I just grew up I just grew up with it. Like that's just the thing that's been around for as long as I've been around. And I think it really does have a lot of power to do good, but man, it has power to do bad very quickly. I'm glad you said that about it. Sometimes I think sometimes I'll be scrolling LinkedIn and I think I'm like crazy. Like I'm like, am I the only person that thinks this is a little weird sometimes?
I feel like a hater. Because I'm like, am I not like,
am I not getting it? I don't understand.
I'm like, man, I like LinkedIn. Like, I pride myself on LinkedIn. I'm like, yo, like, that's my space. Like, I love it. And you'll never see that out of the boy. Like, I'm just not going to be like, it'll just be wild. Like, I saw, like, that dog example. Like, that's some real stuff that I gave.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's different in these LinkedIn streets.
You'll see people all the time. They'll be like, yeah, well, I arose from my bed at 4:30 in the morning after I clocked in a 40-hour day. It's like, bro, you are lying. You are lying. You did not. You slept until 7 o'clock like all of us. Like, don't lie.
Go ask your partner how they're doing.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Go talk to your parents or something.
Your dog is starving. Like, let's get right, man. Like, let's not act like, I don't know. I love the worker mentality, the Mamba mentality, but like, overworking yourself is not cool.
No.
Like being hustler, it's just not like, look at me, I'm doing, it's just not cool.
Yeah.
Man.
It's, to go back to the old saying, it's not necessarily about working harder. It's about working smarter. Yeah. If you are clocking in 20-hour days just for the sake of saying that you clocked in a 20-hour day, you've really done more harm than you have good. However, if you're maximizing your time efficiently, you can get a lot more done in maybe less time and live and have a more well-rounded and healthy life. And I see people all the time. It's like, I'm clocking in 4 hours early and I'm clocking out 4 hours. Like, it's like, man, you don't have to do these things. Like, you can have a healthy balance with all these. And again, like, I agree with you. I love the worker mentality, like putting your nose to the grindstone and do the things you got to do. Like, stay a little bit late if you got to, but sometimes it's just taken to an unhealthy level. It's just, it's a little ridiculous.
You can't run from the grind, but you know, somebody told me like, give me an efficient 8 over a BS 10, 11.
Yeah.
Because that shows me like you're not really built for it. But an efficient 8 is like, all right, there's process implemented in there. There's strategy within that. But 10 or 11, it's just like, man, like, you're showing me you're not efficient. You're showing me that you can't delegate. You're showing me that you're not able to handle the certain kind of tasks that come within a given day. So.
I love it. Well, I want to, before we kind of wrap things up here, I want to first and foremost just say thank you again for making a little bit of time. I know it's a weekday, it's after work, and I know you could be doing a lot of other things, but I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me again.
I'm happy to do it.
Like I said, man, like you were one of my favorite guests to have on the show, and I was like, I gotta have him on again. So it's been a pleasure getting to chat with you again. Before I let you go here, I know you've got somewhere to go.
No, you got time. We good.
Before I let you go here, I've got a segment that I like to close each show out with. Okay. It's called 15 Quick Questions. And this is 15 questions. They're this or that. Okay. And either A or B. And I want to get the real uncut, like straight off the dome.
You want straight Malcolm?
Yeah, just straight Malcolm. These are going to be this or that questions. So these are totally unrelated to what we've been talking about. These are just different things I want to get your thoughts on. All right. You ready to go?
I gotta get some water.
No, you're good. You got to get ready. 15 quick questions.
Stay ready. You don't have to get ready, boss.
All right, let's do it. This is 15 quick questions with Malcolm. First and foremost, beach vacation or mountain vacation?
Sand gets on my toes, and I don't like that feeling, bro. Give me the mountains.
All right, hot coffee or iced coffee?
Man, iced every day. Shout out to Starbucks, my girl Aubrey. She knows my order off rip. Market Street.
You're a usual.
Man. So Market Street Starbucks. They
know you.
They get it done.
They know
man.
you. They know
my
you.
My boy A down there. I see you, man.
I like it. Summer, fall, winter, or spring?
Man, once you get over 250, you sweat a lot. And
I know what you're saying. I know.
That summer is not looking good, and winter I do be dressing.
Yes.
So give me winter. Fall, yeah, I like it, but it's like, man,
give me the real stuff.
Yeah, I don't like the fat boy rag, the sweat rag. That's what I keep that on me until about December. And you said raw, uncut. So yeah, give me winter, bro.
I would agree with you. Fall and winter are my favorite times. I walked into work the other day and I had like a green pullover and somebody was like, "Dang, I like your pullover." I was like, "This is just normal fall. Like, what do you like? I appreciate it, but I'm just cozy. Like, I'm just cozy right now.
Cozy, I love it.
All right, sweet or savory food?
Give me savory, man. I hate some sweet. I'm good on that.
All right. Are Crocs fashionable? Yes or no?
If you rock them right, if you put them in reverse,
yeah.
put a little pin on it or something like that. Yeah, anything could be fashion.
I like it. In your mind, does pineapple belong on pizza? Yes or no?
Absolutely. And if you don't think so, just
pineapple belongs everywhere. Pineapple is awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
Pineapple is a top tier fruit. I love pineapple.
Tier one fruit, pineapple. Yes.
Sunrise or sunset?
I hate waking up. Give me sunset.
All right. Do you prefer guacamole or salsa?
I hate avocados.
Really?
Give me salsa. But I don't like hot salsa.
That's a hot take.
Avocados to me are kind of like the Kirk Cousins of produce.
Listen, as a Vikings fan, I know exactly what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Like, hey, it can win, but is it really gonna win?
It's not the best.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
I get it. I get it. You're not gonna be mad at it, but you're not gonna be in love with it. I'm not
gonna be like, give me Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. On the note of football, I know you're a big football fan. Yeah. Do you prefer college football or NFL?
It's a tie, and I know it's this or that, but hear me out. College football, the passion is unmatched, but the product in the NFL is unmatched. Honestly, give me NFL.
All right, we're going NFL. Crunchy peanut butter or smooth peanut butter?
Man, so when I was a kid, it was crunchy. This is changing like the last 6 months.
Really?
Give me creamy.
You're a big creamy fan?
I had some Jif the other day, and I was like, boy, smacking. I was like, wow. Yeah, give me creamy.
All right. I know that you are a quoted connoisseur of wings. So do you prefer flats or drums?
Drums with blue cheese.
See, I don't know if there's a hot take. I enjoy drums. I think drums are just more fun.
Bro,
flats are boring.
Flats, it's so much effort.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you gotta bite, flip, dip, bite. Like, come on, man. Give me the drum. I'll dip it in blue cheese. Mom.
It's like a lollipop. Like, I heard some people like, oh, but there's more meat on the flat. I'm like, you're thinking too much into it.
That's
like,
great.
It's more fun with the drums.
Just get it out the way.
Yeah.
Drums.
I love it. In your mind, who wins in a dance battle, The Rock or Kevin Hart?
I think The Rock, just because of his athletic background.
Right.
I don't think Kay is as fluid.
He works out, though. He's an agile guy.
And shout out to my guy, but The Rock he has a little, I just think he knows what to do.
All right. We got the final 3 questions here. Which decade do you prefer, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
90s, man. I would be thriving. If I was 18-year-old in 1990, I already look like a 90s R&B singer. Like, bro, I would be that guy in 1990.
I love it. Of the end of the year holidays, do you prefer Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's?
I cannot stand New Year's because of traffic.
Really?
Throw that out.
Not a big New Year's fan.
Christmas is cool, but it's just like my wallet's not. And I know that's selfish, but it's just like, man, like, Merry Christmas. Like, I'm broke, like, but okay. And Halloween, man, I'm just... spooky stuff like awesome.
Yeah.
But like, man, I get to eat all this food. I get to watch football. I get to be around my family.
Yeah.
And I don't have to buy nothing. Give me Thanksgiving.
Listen, Thanksgiving and Christmas are like my favorite times of the year. So either one of those answers was totally fine with me. And final question, I asked this question of everybody, so I want to hear your answer and hear kind of your line of thinking with it. If you had to, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? And I'll give you a minute to think about the mental image there.
Give me the question one more time.
So you're faced with two situations. In one situation, you're faced with fighting 100 duck-sized horses, so 100 little tiny horses, or you got to fight one ginormous. I lied. Or one horse-sized duck, so one big duck.
Give me the one big duck.
The one big duck. All right, so what you're thinking?
The 100 would overwhelm me. And I can't run fast.
Too many things at once.
Yeah, it'd be like, bah, 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 like they just come in all angles, man. But I'm saying the duck is like, all right, I can see my sights on you.
Yeah.
And
you can focus on the one task at hand.
Yeah, and I'll try to take it out. So give me the one horse-sized duck.
I love it, man. Well, that was 15 quick questions. I appreciate your answers. Appreciate you playing along, and you got it on record that you would take the duck over the horses. So,
and I would also take drums over flats.
Yes,
just to reiterate that.
Yes, that's gonna be the highlight of the show. And I would agree. I think drums are just better. I think they're more fun. They're like little wing lollipops. So they're the best. Awesome, man. Well, before we finish up, I know you're on LinkedIn, I know you're on Instagram and stuff, and I'll make sure those are in the description. So if you're listening, you want to follow Malcolm on social media, those will be down there. Do you have any other links or anything you'd like to share before we finish up here?
Yeah, man. Just everything on LinkedIn, all social media platforms @_ Malcolm Harris. And then, of course, follow, the Brewer Media group. And as well, I can't just leave it off, at Steam Logistics, man. We're hiring in your area. Now 11 branch offices with a few more to come in 2023. And just excited, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you making the time to chat with me. And, I'd love to do it again in the future. You're one of my favorite guys to chat with.
Listen,
so
man, I'm here. Chattanooga, it's special. We were talking about Tennessee earlier, but Chat is just super special. And you have a great place with this platform. So continue to use it, and proud of you, Daniel.
Awesome. I love it, man. I'm proud of you as well. Keep up the good work. Keep the nose to the grindstone, like we've been saying, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Listen, if we don't get to it, who will?
I love it. Of course. If you are out there listening right now, I want to thank you for tuning into the episode. Thank you for listening, as always. If you would like to follow Malcolm on any social media, or if you'd like to check out any of the aforementioned links, those will be in the description of the episode. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. Malcolm, thank you again for coming on.
Of course, brother.
And I hope that you all will tune in for another episode of the podcast. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the podcast. As one final reminder, if you'd like to support the show, then don't forget to rate and review the show wherever you get your podcast, or share it with a friend. If you'd like to check out any links that were mentioned during the show, or follow the show or myself on social media, then feel free to head to the description of today's episode to find these links. As always, thank you again for checking out today's episode, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I will catch you all on the next episode of the podcast. See ya!